Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good afternoon to Prof. Qayyum. So my name is Mizan. The topic for my discussion today is nationalism in Adibah Amin's This End of the Rainbow. So Adibah Amin has highlighted a few historical events during the pre-independence period which have risen the spirit of nationalism in the characters and also in the reader's heart. So nationalism, in a simple word, is when people of a particular land within a geographical territory believe that their fate is united and belong to a particular national identity. So Malaysia has a geographical territory where the people are bound together within maybe political, cultural, and economic identity. And that has made Malaysians different from people in countries such as the United States, Germany, the Philippines, Thailand, India, and so on. It is because we have our own shared identity. For example, Malaysians share the same Malaysians share the same national anthem. We share the same national flag. We are using the same national flag. We are under the government, under the ruling of the same sultan and the same prime minister, and so on. So the need to gain independence and the desire to self-rule have driven the Malayan nationalists in the book to borrow the Western concept of nationalism. Originally, the idea of nationalism is Europeans. They are it is related to religious homogeneity because in the past the Europeans is known as their identity is related only to because they are all Christians. So their identity is, we know that Europeans Christians, but today in modern world the religious homogeneity of the Christians is replaced by the geographical and linguistic identity after the passing of religious homogeneity. And in this case, the Malayan nationalists are borrowing the idea of nationalism which can be applied to our geographical identity. It is because Malayans come from different multiracial identity. We have no similarity in linguistic because these people speak Malay, these people speak Mandarin, these people speak Hindi, and so this can only be applied to geographical identity because we live in the same within a geographical territory which is Malaysia, the land of Malaysia. So the idea of nationalism comes to Malaysia because the need for development and modernity and also the need to unite as a nation to gain independence. So in Adibah Amin, This End of the Rainbow, the borrowing of the Western concept as well as the different thought possessed by the local nationalists is identified through such appropriated sense of nationalism. So thus, it is crucial to highlight the important figures such as Husna and Han the Cynic as nationalists with their thought and spirit of nationalism that have successfully created nationalist sentiment in the independence movement. So Husna, she has created the nationalist sentiment through her participation and contribution in the independence movement to reject the formation of Malayan Union. She believes that it is needed to be freed from the colonial power in order to have our own identity. For example, in the book, she mentioned that she had just written the day before from trekking to villages singing patriotic songs to help the independence movement. So the most important point to highlight is Husna sings patriotic songs in the independence movement in which it acts as a proof that song can unite people. It is because song, for example, the national anthem, is one of our own shared identities. So by singing the national anthem, it is one of the ways on how we show our national identity. And Husna has also created the national sentiment when she is emphasizing on the national identity as a Malay towards her children, in which she mentions that we want you to be very good at our own language first. So in this case, Husna wants her children to have their own identity as Malay. However, Husna is not a narrow-minded nationalist. She is very optimistic. Husna spoke mostly Malay to her children, though she read the local Sunday Times and explained the Tarzan comics to them. So in this case, we can see that Husna accepts English language. Even though she is fighting for the Malayans' independence, she doesn't hesitate to send her children to English school. And apart from that, she is also looking forward to the unifying of the different races in Tanah Melayu at that time. So, based on the novel, Husna has participated in many of the independence movements, such as attending the Congress, and in accordance with the formations of UMNO, she has the hope for the three races, for the three groups, for the three alliances to become together under the alliances of UMNO, MCA, and MIC. Yeah, and another important figure to look at is Han the Cynic. So Han the Cynic and his multiracial youth movement, in which Han and his friends like Badri and so on have started the multiracial political group with a pure intention, which is to unite all of the races, including Malay, Chinese, Indian, and others. So besides, it is in the book Overcome Race Prejudice, Han is highlighting the elements of trust in the unity. He mentions we need to build trust. I hope we will stop thinking in terms of my people and your people and start feeling we are one people. So, this shows that trust is one of the most important elements in building unity among the people, because we need to trust each other to become one. We need to become one to gain independence, and that is how trust is important. So the multiracial youth movement has presented the spirit of young generation to fight for independence. So apart from creating national sentiment by accepting different races for the movement, Han is expecting the multiracial youth group that he and his friend have created to become a multiracial political party. For example, in the book, it is a movement growing and spreading every day, though we will go on calling it a group or groups for a while. When the time is right, we will become a political party. So in this case, we can see that Han and his friends are going to become the voices of the young generation, to speak for the young generation, unlike Husna's generation, right? So, as a conclusion, Husna and Han are two important figures in Adibah Amin's This End of the Rainbow, as they have been portrayed as the nationalists who have two generations of nationalists who have promoted the idea of national identity and unity among races. So nationalism is seen as an independent movement which is borrowed from the West in order to be freed from the colonizers. So thus, it is crucial to all Malaysians today to hold hands together in upholding identity as Malaysians, and at the same time strengthening the unity between the races in Malaysia to preserve the peaceful country, to preserve our peaceful country, Malaysia. And yeah, I believe that is all from me. Thank you.